You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
What is up, guys? Braden here. Today is the start of a brand new series which I will call Athlete Profiles. The first subject is Vladimir Guerrero Sr., a Dominican-born professional baseball player. Vladimir Guerrero Alvino Sr. was born in Nizao, Dominican Republic, and you'll have to forgive me for my pronunciation. Every video I get something wrong. Every video, and someone always comments, "You mispronounced this." I know. Nizao, Dominican Republic is where he was born. Guerrero was raised in Don Gregorio in the Dominican Republic, about an hour south of the nation's capital, Santo Domingo. Guerrero grew up extremely poor. His house was made of mud and had a roof made of palm tree leaves. He used to drink from puddles due to not having any running water. His mother sold food in the street to support the family until Hurricane David in 1979 completely destroyed the country. She would then go back and forth between Venezuela and the Dominican Republic to work as a maid and a cook. Vladimir was one of 9 children, and his brother Wilton would also later play professional baseball, even becoming a teammate of Vlad's at one point. Vlad learned to play baseball when him and his brothers made gloves from milk cartons and made baseballs with socks stuffed with plastic bags, or sometimes used lemons and limes stuffed in socks. Vladimir didn't even own a real baseball glove until his brother, Elazar, a minor league player at the time, gave him one when he was 15 years old. Elazar didn't even get past the Dominican Summer League, never quite rising to the level of talent Vladimir and Wilton later would. Yet another Guerrero brother, Julio Cesar, played minor league ball, spending time in the Red Sox organization, but never made it past single-A ball. Vladimir never made it past the 5th grade, dropping out to work in his grandfather's fields, where he wrangled cattle, which improved his strength. He began playing a modified version of baseball with the neighborhood kids called La Placa. Home plate was a license plate, and the batter was required to keep one end of the bat on home plate until the pitcher released the ball, which improved his reflexes. The Dodgers were the first to express interest in Guerrero, inviting him to work out at their Dominican-based complex, but didn't sign him, believing he was too fat and too slow. Vladimir later said on the experience, quote, "I knew I would be signed. There were so many teams. The Dodgers thought I had a long swing, and I was slow, which was because I was fat. I started to lose weight in the Dodgers camp because I was practicing 2 times a day." Unquote. Later in 1993, Vladimir was signed by the Montreal Expos for $2,100, which is worth about $4,400 today. The minor leagues were no challenge for Guerrero, and soon word began to circulate about a prospect in the Expos farm system who was fast, who could hit for power, and throw a runner out from the warning track. However, many naysayers pointed out that Guerrero would often chase balls that were far outside the strike zone. But an Expos scout defended him, and I apologize if I'm saying this guy's name wrong. You guys always call me out for pronunciation. But Expos scout Arturo D. Frateris, who was the guy that originally had convinced the Expos to sign Guerrero, basically told the critics to shut up. He said, "Just shut up and let him bat." Which honestly is good advice. You shouldn't listen to critics, especially when they're retarded and wrong. That's how I live my life, at least. Anyway, Guerrero batted .314 with the Expos Gulf Coast League team, then batted .333 with the Albany Polecats in Single-A. He continued to impress at each level he was at, rising quickly through the Expos farm system. It wasn't until September 19th, 1996, at the age of 21, that Guerrero made his major league debut on the road against the Braves at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. That night, Guerrero went 1 for 5, but his first ever major league at-bat was a hit when he singled to center field off of Braves pitcher Steve Avery. 2 nights later, Guerrero hit his first home run as a major leaguer in the 9th inning against the Braves. This game was also the first time Guerrero had multiple hits in the same game. Guerrero continued to hear more criticism for being too aggressive at the plate, continuing to swing at pitches outside the strike zone. However, in his first full season in 1997, he had pretty respectable numbers, batting .302 with 11 home runs and 40 RBIs. Defensively, Guerrero still had a lot of work to do. In 1997, he led all major league outfielders in errors with 12. He was a right fielder and far from polished. But there was a lot of reason for praise on offense. The critics that constantly talked about him chasing balls began to change their tune when he started connecting on those pitches that were outside the zone and hitting them with authority and power. In one instance, he even hit a ball that bounced before it reached him. He definitely had above average hand-eye coordination, and it showed. Also, the critics never really had a point to begin with, as Guerrero never had more than 100 strikeouts in any one of his major league seasons. In 1998, Guerrero kept getting better. He batted .324 with 38 home runs and had 109 RBIs, and before the season ended, Guerrero signed a brand new deal with the Montreal Expos worth $28 million. The following season, in 1999, Guerrero made his first All-Star game. This was a pretty exceptional season indeed, as Guerrero at one point had a 31-game hit streak, which was the longest that MLB had seen since 1986. He finished the 1999 season with a .324 batting average, 42 home runs, and 131 RBIs. He had officially arrived. He was considered one of the best players in Major League Baseball by this point. In 2000, Guerrero had a .345 batting average, hit 44 home runs, and had 123 RBIs, and was once again named an All-Star. On June 7, 2001, Guerrero made one of the craziest throws that I've ever seen. In a game against rival Toronto, Alberto Castillo of the Blue Jays attempted to go home after a base hit. Guerrero caught the ball off of a bounce, threw it roughly 300 feet and accurately, might I add, and the catcher caught it and got Castillo out. Guerrero added another weapon to his arsenal in 2002, base stealing, collecting 34 stolen bags. That year, he also led the National League with 206 base hits and 364 total bases. He made another All-Star appearance and finished the season batting .336 with 39 home runs and 111 RBIs. The only thing missing at this point from Guerrero's impressive resume was a postseason appearance, as the Expos languished in mediocrity for most of Guerrero's time there, and never once made the playoffs. The Expos were pursuing a playoff spot in 2003, and it was looking like they might make the wild card. Guerrero unfortunately injured his back against the Florida Marlins in late May, which was later diagnosed as a herniated disc, which put him on the disabled list for the first time since his rookie season. This definitely hurt the Expos. Without their best player Guerrero, the Expos had an 18-29 record. But when he returned, he began to bring the Expos back into the playoff race. But unfortunately, one man could not carry them to a playoff spot, as the Expos faded down the stretch. Following the 2003 season, his contract with the Expos was up, and it was clear Guerrero wanted to go to a team that could contend for a World Series, so he decided to test the waters of free agency. He ended up signing a $70 million deal with the Anaheim Angels on January 14, 2004, after being pursued by several teams, as he was one of the most sought-after free agents. He actually almost signed with the Mets for more money, but they couldn't provide him insurance in the case of another back injury, so he turned them down. His first season with the Angels went very well. By the start of September of 2004, the Angels were in the thick of the race for the AL West crown, being only 3 games behind the first-placed Oakland Athletics. From that point on, Guerrero kicked it into high gear, hitting 11 home runs in the month with 26 RBIs, and the Angels won the AL West, and Guerrero made his first postseason appearance. But in the first postseason game of his career against the Boston Red Sox, Guerrero went 0 for 5. With the Red Sox up 2-0 in the series, and with the Angels being on the brink of elimination, they trailed 6-2. Guerrero hit a grand slam off of Red Sox pitcher Mike Timlin to tie the game, but unfortunately the Angels could not win in the end as Big Papi Ortiz hit a 2-run homer and the Red Sox swept the Angels 3-0. For the 2004 season, Guerrero batted .337, hit 39 home runs, and had 126 RBIs, as well as being named an All-Star in his first season in Anaheim. The Angels won the AL West with Guerrero once again in 2005, and that season he became just the 12th player in history to hit 300 home runs before the age of 30. Guerrero finished the regular season with a batting average of .317 with 32 home runs and 108 RBIs. He had a great ALDS series against the Yankees, batting .333 as the Angels eliminated the Yanks in 5. However, the following round in the ALCS against the eventual champion White Sox, Guerrero struggled mightily, only managing a meager .05 batting average for the series, and this time the Angels were the ones eliminated in 5 games. The following season, on July 15, 2006, Guerrero recorded his 1,000th career RBI against the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, and in 2007 he made his 8th All-Star game and won that year's Home Run Derby. His age began to show around this time though, as he wasn't as prolific as a fielder as he once was. Due to this, he was reassigned to be a designated hitter, starting with the 2009 season. On August 10, 2009, Guerrero hit his 400th home run against the Rays, hitting it off pitcher Russ Springer. In August of that season, he collected his 1,000th hit as a member of the Angels. He became just the 4th player to collect 1,000 hits in both the National League and the American League. 2009 was his last season with the Angels, as he left to become a member of the Texas Rangers following the season. He was 34 by this point and slowing down significantly. He still enjoyed a fairly productive season though, batting .295 with 15 home runs and 50 RBIs. Obviously nowhere near close to the numbers he put up in his prime, but respectable nonetheless. In 2010, his first season as a Ranger, he was actually better statistically than in his last season as an Angel. He batted .300, had 29 home runs, and collected 115 RBIs. It seemed like a career renaissance. That season, he led the Rangers to an AL West title and a World Series appearance. Guerrero was looking to get his first ring and put the finishing touches on an incredible career. However, it was not in the cards for old Vladdy. The Rangers lost the series 4-1 to the San Francisco Giants. In 2011, Guerrero signed a 1-year, $8 million contract with the Baltimore Orioles. However, he was nowhere near what he was the previous season when he made his first appearance in the World Series. He had a batting average of .290, had 13 home runs, and 63 RBIs. Not terrible by any means, but nowhere near superstar status. Multiple injuries and age had finally caught up to him. The following year, he was 37 years old and still wanting to play baseball. He absolutely refused to retire, but was not signed through the offseason. Sadly, major league teams accepted what he himself could not. He was not a major league caliber player any longer. And that's why on May 10th, 2012, the Toronto Blue Jays signed Guerrero to a minor league contract. He played his first game in the Blue Jays organization with the Single-A Dunedin Blue Jays of the Florida State League on May 27th. In his first 4 games with Dunedin, he had 9 hits and 4 home runs, and was subsequently promoted to the Jays' AAA affiliate, the Las Vegas 51s, where he had 10 hits in 8 games. He asked to be released on June 12, 2012, and was granted his request. It seemed like he had finally realized that his glorious career had come to its conclusion. In November of 2012, he played a handful of games in the Dominican Professional Baseball League, but struggled, and after the team he played for told him that he would only be used as a pinch hitter, he quit. He attempted a comeback with the Long Island Ducks of the Atlantic League in the spring of 2013, but due to family issues missed the start of the season and never appeared in any games at all. On March 31st, 2014, Guerrero signed a 1-day contract with the Angels and retired as a member of the organization. By this point, the Expos had been in Washington for over a decade, so he couldn't retire with them. At least it wouldn't make much sense if he did. I'm sure he had a lot of fond memories of his time in Canada, and I think that if the Expos were still around, he probably would have retired with them, especially because his son, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., was born in Montreal and currently plays for a Canadian team as well. So the Guerrero family is well loved by the folks north of the border, I'm sure. He played in 2,147 games in his 16-year Major League career and had a career batting average of .318, had 449 home runs, and had 1,496 RBIs. Defensively, he had a career fielding percentage of .963. Vladimir Guerrero Sr. will forever be remembered as a legendary free-swinging hitter, a rags-to-riches story, and a man who refused to quit, even when all of baseball quit on him. Vlad the Impaler, you will always be remembered, and your playing days will always be remembered fondly. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe if you have not already, and peace out.